What's happening, my friends? I am chomping at the bit to hang out with you guys this week. There's lots of news going on, but bar none, the biggest headline that is trending is Trump just got convicted 34 felonies. Where do we go from here? What does it signal for the upcoming election? What does that signal for you and I? Quick interruption to pay the bills. Shameless plug, stuff that you're going to really like that just hit our site. One is we have rifle slings, the adjustable slings. Now instead of the red pull tab, you got blacked out on the Coyote and you got the green on the black sling. And so more subdued. So if you're one of those red is dead kind of guys, now you can go ahead and get your fully tactical Warrior Poet Society sling. Quick, two other things, and then we'll get on with the episode. If you're traveling, you're going to need to put your firearm, your pistol, in a safe. We have Vault-Tec safes. I encourage you to check them out on our website, link down below. For your home, you absolutely want door braces. For all of my homes that I've had over the last decade, I've moved a lot. I've always had these braces on all of my exterior doors. Check out our site, check out our door braces, and make sure you get one for every single door in your house. It is an extremely important way that you can kick-proof your door. If I came to your house, I would be able to open your door in 1 to 2 kicks. If you came to my house to kick open, you can kick it 50 times and that barricade is just going to be smiling back at you. You need door braces. It's going to keep you and your family safe. My wife, even when I'm out of town, she's got the door braces on. Make sure you visit our site, get a door brace for each and every exterior door that you've got. Now back to the episode. All right, guys, let's get into it. So let's imagine, as a way of thought experiment, that you are running the Biden administration. You and some of your cronies are, and you want to get your weekend at Bernie's presidential candidate who's occupying the Oval Office right now. You'd like to get him reelected. Now, you're up against some very, very difficult things in that, one, he's wildly unpopular. Nobody really likes him. His policies are abject failures. And you're running against somebody who is wildly popular and is quickly becoming a symbol of everything they hate against the established corrupt political system. How in the world would you get this guy elected? Now, you sitting at the Biden administration have no reason to be too alarmed because, well, you own the media. Big tech also will do your bidding, and you have a new shiny toy called artificial intelligence, which is going to also be helping you in the upcoming election. You have 30 million new illegal voters, which you can activate. You also have near unlimited funds coming in from the proxy wars you started in these money laundering schemes. And if that wasn't enough, and it might be enough, you have a DOJ to do your bidding. This circus show that just went down, 34 felonies convicted of I think the American people see through this immediately, and they're absolutely incensed. You have a very clearly corrupt DA. You have very clearly a corrupt judge. Trump went into this trial on a misdemeanor charge that somehow, years after the expiry on this misdemeanor charge, somehow turned in to 34 felonies? How's that happen? And how is it for the very first time in all American history that a former U.S. president is sitting on trial for conviction and actually gets convicted? And now what follows is are they going to stop there? They're actually going to put him in prison. I think they're going to actually put him in prison. I think the enemy has no restraint. They're pulling out all stops, and they give a flying rip what you and I think. They don't care. It's like, what are you going to do about it? We own all the institutions of power. What are you going to do about it? Already, it's not like they're lobbying for something as paltry as votes. They can fabricate those. Now it's wielding all the power that they have. Think about this. Their actions have already led to the complete full breakdown of your trust in the media. Media outlets that you grew up and you had really no cause when you were growing up to question. Now it's a joke to think of MSNBC, CNN, any of these organizations as actual news. They're pure propaganda outlets. Anything that is actual newsworthy, even if they get the story, you know beyond a shadow of a doubt, they're spinning it according to a certain narrative so they control your way of thinking to their viewpoint.
Control exactly what people think. And that is our job.
Lefty politics right now and the ownership of their institutions of power have led to a complete destruction in your trust in the media institutions. It's so obvious, however, nothing's going to happen because the DOJ is also complicit in this, which goes to a final point. We have a full loss of faith now, especially with this week's news. It's the nail in the coffin for the justice system. Now I can completely write off this establishment like all the other establishments which have completely lost my trust, and I'll say there's no justice in the courts now. Justice, the DOJ, is now just a weapon with which to cudgel those people who think differently than they, who act differently than they, and they're going to use it. It's a tool of the rich and the powerful to be able to punish anybody who thinks differently than they. That's you and that's me. And if they can get President Trump, you darn sure that they can get you and I as well.
Douglas Murray, he's an English author. He's written a bunch of books. He recently said something that I think was really profound. He said, sometimes a flare goes up and it allows you to see where everybody is.
Yeah.
The Democrats have played their hand. A flare has gone up. You see where everyone is, and they're exposed for what they are.
That's good. However, so in the military, when a flare goes up, enemy combatant, or it's your own flare from your side, you're supposed to freeze. It's motion that gives you away. If moving things get shot. Now what I see is over the last years, whenever a flare would go up, and there were certain events that a flare would go up, and all the political actors with hand in the cookie jar, they'd freeze. Now they're not freezing anymore. The flare's up on full display. Their corruption is there, and they're just like, whatever, eating an apple, strolling across the battlefield. They don't care. They own it all. It's like, what are you going to do about it? Nothing. And so that is what is alarming now. That's what's so different right now that has never been true before. Now, the flares are going up constantly. We're finding out more corruption. It's worse than you thought. Epstein, Ukraine, COVID, doesn't matter. They're just walking around. They don't care. It's like, what are you going to do about it? We own all the institutions of power. Open border, illegal aliens, they don't care. Pedophilia, drag shows, doesn't matter. They don't care. They own it all. If the DOJ is corrupted and does the bidding, that means they're covering for them and all their crimes and prosecuting ours. That's exactly what has happened.
And that's the gaslighting that's going on. That's why we all feel like we're going crazy. That's because we're with the flares up, we're seeing everyone doing their bankrupt criminal actions, and they just keep on doing it. And we're like, but we can see you. And they're like, yeah.
This has got to signal terrible ramifications for people in general, because if we can't trust that we are one nation under God with liberty and justice for all, if we no longer believe in our justice system and it's become truly this banana republic where the sitting president can throw the presidential contender in jail, I mean, like, that's supposed to happen in third world overthrown countries, not in America. And yet, right before our waking eyes, unabashedly, brazenly, that's what they're doing. Justice has stumbled in the public squares.
What is it that you can't seem to jail anybody in New York?
Yeah.
Like, you can't seem to jail any criminal in New York, but they found a way to jail, like, Trump.
Yeah, that's right.
Meanwhile, you got people pushing people in front of subways. You got people knifing people. You got people shooting people. They're getting off, but Trump, he has got to be convicted.
Yep.
I think they will try to throw him in jail.
And meanwhile, no one has still gone to jail over Epstein. No one.
Yeah.
And they never will. And any of the lefty politicians, which is flagrant outright corruption, and Hunter Biden's laptop and a million other gross crimes against the Biden syndicate.
They got to be really careful, though, otherwise they will delegitimize the 2024 election 100% if they throw him in jail. Imagine that. He'll be in jail off the campaign trail.
I think the 2020 election was illegitimate.
Well, imagine what's going to happen now if our preferred candidate's in jail, taken off, not able to campaign. Yeah. That's election interference, like to the max.
And they won't care. The left won't care. So,
oh boy, I think it's really, really risky and dangerous waters that we're heading in with. You could see potential actual violence.
Again, if the DOJ is complicit, they're going to be the force that decides who the next president is. It'll be the courts, and it'll be the guys with guns.
Well, you know what?
And I don't mean citizens with guns. I mean
federal arm, because all federal laws are, enforced by the barrel of a gun ultimately.
That's right.
I mean, but this will, a lot of my friends were hoping this goes to the Supreme Court. and the Supreme Court can nullify this, and there's a good chance of that. So interestingly, that Biden, while saying that, he got on and he did a presser, said, no one should, it's irresponsible to declare this to be a bad verdict. This is from the mouth of the same guy that's been trashing the Supreme Court almost for the last year on their verdicts.
Yeah.
Ironies abound.
I'm so upset.
My hope now is that Trump wins and that Trump throws all these jokers in jail who are actually breaking the law.
There's no way they'll let that happen. No way of I think they have the machinations in place to hopelessly rig this next election. And even if it's deemed, hey, this wasn't a fair election, who is going to actually declare the citizens? It doesn't matter if we all say it with one collective voice. If we run polls and 100% think that it was still, if they just refuse to give up power, how are you going to give them out of power? Is the DOJ going to do it? No, the DOJ is going to get gutted and eviscerated by Trump coming back in. So they'll do anything they can possibly do to keep him out of power.
Hey, do you think he's actually going to clean up the swamp like he promised the first time around? Do you think he'll do it
I think there's
time?
no scenario in which they're going to allow Trump to actually occupy office. And so I don't know what that looks like going on. I can't even make a guess at what that looked like. I just think there's no scenario where there's a easy transition of power from the Biden administration to Trump. There's no way that is like, oh, they got us, they beat us. Good luck, Trump. All right, I guess we're out. There's no way that they make an easy transition of power.
Well, no, to your
if
point,
they lost, if all of the ways that they're going to eat failed, and it was still, we were able to squeak out a victory because a landslide was able to somehow, if everybody went out and voted, if maybe we were able to squeak a win, they're still going to contest it. The DOJ is going to push that contestation. It's going to end up in court. It's going to drag on and on and on, and then they just don't give up power in the end.
This is best exemplified by that just bizarre and weird clip of Biden at that presser where he's walking away. Some of you may have seen this. If you hadn't, we have the video.
Yeah, let's play the clip.
Donald Trump refers to himself as a political prisoner and blames you directly. What's your response to that, sir? Do you think the conviction will have an impact on the campaign? Yeah. We'd love to hear your thoughts, sir.
Should he be on the ballot?
I mean, that right there nails it for us. That is almost everything you were saying in one clip. In 5 seconds, it's that right there.
Part of me wants to see him as kind of like this maniacal mastermind at a chair petting a cat, but I don't think so. I think he was probably just an old man with dementia, confused by the question, smile because people like smiles, and he's going to get ice cream. Well, I think he has no idea what's going on, and so I don't think he's masterminding that. I do think you could look at that and be like, there's a good metaphor for the people that are really in charge.
The optics are terrible for him.
The optics are terrible, but the optics always have been terrible for him.
Yeah.
Even when he was running for president, he campaigned in his basement. He didn't campaign. And it's like, there's no way he'll win. No way. And then he didn't even campaign. Well, they always had an ace in the hole. They were going to rig it. Now they have even more ways they cheat and rig. So we have to come out in such wild mass numbers to vote against the complete, and maybe we'll be able to squeak out a victory.
Well, and to that point, I mean, the massive fundraising haul that Trump has had post-conviction is just enormous. I think the stat that we're looking at right now is somewhere north of $200 million since the convictions happened, and that's just nuts. That's the largest amount ever.
This is what I also have some optimism about. I think we are awake now that elections happened in mass last election cycle for president. In this next one, everyone's going to be radars up. Different folks have been training poll watchers, and I think the citizenry is going to take their local districts personally. We will be watching for big trucks to pull up in the middle of the night. They will be intercepted by civilians asking questions and doing recordings. I think that we will be hunting for it. And so I think that we will preload all this evidence, which will be frankly undeniable, and then we'll kick their teeth in when this invariably goes to the Supreme Court. And so I still don't think the lefties will give up power because they're obsessed with power. That's all they want. And they'll do anything to get it. Anyway, there is cause for optimism, but we got to absolutely flood the polls and we got to watch the polls, you know, of like, hey, have your best weapon ready. And that's be vigilant and record everything. Lots of video evidence out there. For all you guys listening in on podcast and on YouTube, thanks so much for tuning in. You guys get to decide who the winners are out there. Right now, the left is extremely well funded and owns our institutions of power. We on the right and in small companies like Warrior Poet Society, we would appreciate your support. The best way you can support us is shop our store, warriorpoetsociety.com. And also to get the rest of this show, all of our other shows, all of our training classes, and be able to support us, watch WPSN.com. That's watchwpsn.com. Gets the rest of this show, Q&A ambush, hot topics, dad joke section, training tip. Sign up there, and then you can download the app on your TV, on your phone, on your laptop, wherever. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next time.